I'm Andrew Varnon. Varnon. Good story. You heard the story, The Ones Who Walk Away from Omelas? I was standing at the copier in Western New England University in the English department with a colleague. Being somebody in the English department, she knew the story. She knew that I had delivered a letter to the chair of the departments and I wasn't going to come back to teach there again in the fall. I was walking away. The thing that the story doesn't tell you at the end is what happens to the ones who walk away. So I said to my colleague, that's what I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out. That's me. I'm going to find out what happens to the ones who walk away. So Omelas is a story by Ursula K. Le Guin. And it's widely anthologized, so it's the kind of story that somebody, if you've spent most of your life teaching freshman English classes, that you've heard about, you know about. It has to deal with sort of a paradise city in the middle of a summer festival. And, you know, it's a magical, wonderful place. But you get the idea that the author here is planting a notion in your head that there's something not quite right. You know, you can have anything that you want. You want an orgy? Have an orgy. Naked priestesses walking around in the street. But all that freedom comes with a price. The price in Omelas is the little kid in the basement underneath the town hall that everybody knows about and nobody does anything about. And some people get fed up and they walk away. So that's what I want to tell you a story about. I want to tell you a story about walking away. I spent 12 years at Western New England University. 12 years is a long time. It was long enough that they stopped being a college and started being a university. I had 2 kids. I bought this kilt. I got back into tennis, and now I'm the coach of the high school tennis team. And my title is was a senior lecturer, but I was an adjunct instructor. I thought of myself as sort of the Walmart greeter of higher education. You know, you spend your $40,000 and you show up, and you get me. I'm there on a course-by-course basis, and if you run into problems, I refer you to support services because you're a customer and the university wants to retain you. But I'm not going to do that anymore. I've decided to be done, at least in that role. And it was hard the last week. I'd been teaching a class called Beer, Baseball, and the Bible that I really liked. I'd spent 5 years developing. And, you know, it was hard to grade all the papers, and it was hard to, you know, keep a straight face about it. But part of what I did was to be honest with my students and tell them what was happening. I went through my last week. I'm sorry. Part of what I did was I pushed my chips into the middle of the table, and I taught Omelas to them, and I talked to them about it. I talked to them about the social contract. I talked to them about the kid in the basement and the people who live these lives of pure pleasure without any guilt. I got to the last week, and I was trying to make it through. I was trying to teach all the way to the end. I was trying not to quit on my students, but it was hard. And you know, I gave what I called my last lecture. I talked to them about what is the value of higher education. Why does your tuition keep going up? It's because what you're buying is status. It's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be about social mobility. But if you value an individual's right to think. If you go to college to wake up, if you go to college to expand your mind, if you go to college to adapt to the world, then what I do has value. But if you spend your money buying a fancy new dining commons so rich parents will send their kids to your school, it doesn't feel as valuable. So I walked away that last day. I walked past the copier, past the big two-story dining commons with a giant golden bear in it staring out at me, out to my little beat-up Honda Civic, put Carmina Burana in the CD player, and I drove what I think of as the back way past Indian Orchard, Chicopee, Holyoke, Northampton, and Greenfield. Thank you.